do have Monica Paige joining us live now from the White House North Lawn. Monica, are you there?
Hey,
Hey,
yes,
what's up?
I'm here. It's so great to be with you. It's been too long.
I know, it's been way too long. You've had a busy couple of weeks, man. What have you been up to?
I mean, between Student Action Summit in Tampa to busy another week at the White House, I mean, it's just been nonstop. It's been a lot of fun, though, I will say that, and
Yeah.
very sweaty.
Yeah, I can
It's hot.
imagine. You've been going gangbusters. Tell me about what's been going on at the White House this week. You were in the room when Tulsi Gabbard dropped that political nuclear weapon, and you heard some reporters saying some things in the back. Tell me a little bit about the behind the scenes there.
Yeah, Chris, let me provide you some context here and just some color commentary. I mean, when you see DNI, Tulsi Gabbard come into the room, she kind of commands the room. She takes the entire room by force. This was like the first time that I've seen her in person, and I think many other reporters as well. So the mood in the room was very tense. It was kind of solemn. And looking around the room and seeing, the faces of the other mainstream media reporters, it was just an interesting dynamic because you had reporters like myself who were like, yes, let's get the truth to the American people. The American people deserve to know what happened during the 2016 election and the events leading up to it, and the years-long coup against President Trump. But then you have the other dynamic of the mainstream media reporters and maybe some who are pretty vocal in the back of the briefing room, kind of trying to call out the press secretary and trying to call out Tulsi Gabbard, saying under her breath, that's not true or that's a lie. And of course, she was wearing a mask. She's still stuck in 2020.
Wow.
I see this woman from time to time. She kind of floats around the White House here, but she's an interesting character. And it's so disrespectful when you have somebody who took the time out to conduct this investigation, these hundreds of pages long, bring them forth to the American people, deliver this bombshell report, and you're going to disrespect the highest office like that? I mean, you could smack these people in the face with thousands of pages of evidence, and they would still think that Barack Obama is the best president and could do no wrong. So you have that dynamic there, and that dynamic just kind of never goes anywhere, but it was on full display this past week in the briefing room.
Yeah, it's really wild. I mean, but I guess it's got to be tough to be exposed as liars and cheats, you know? So as you're kind of going around the White House, what's the internal vibes as far as the political nuclear weapon that Tulsi dropped? Are people excited? Are people hopeful? Do people think that nothing's going to happen? You know, what's the vibe around the White House and inside?
Well, I'm glad you asked this question, Chris, because for people like us, we are very excited about this. We're eager to learn more. We're excited to see what the DOJ presents. We're excited to maybe see some accountability out of it. But then you have kind of the mainstream media and the left who are here on this campus, and they just want to see Epstein files. They will not let the Epstein story go. And the Epstein files, for what it's worth, is a very sensitive topic. And you have to proceed with caution when you're bringing that kind of truth to the American people. President Trump today said, while he was leaving to go to Scotland, he said in a press gaggle that he has a list of names, hedge fund, big names. He has a list of people that he's ready to put out. So just give it some time. I actually saw one of the reporters on his laptop sitting in front of me in the briefing room saying, oh, Tulsi Gabbard is here, not talking about Epstein.
Huh.
So the left never cared about Epstein up until now because they somehow think that President Trump was involved in this. And they think that it's going to really get Trump this time. And this is what they care about. They never cared about it before. They never cared about it under Joe Biden, right?
Yeah.
Now they finally decide to care about it. So you have that dynamic as well, Chris.
Yeah, it's so frustrating because it's like, the conservatives that want this information, we want justice for the victims and we want accountability for the perpetrators. But the left wants to use this as a political weapon against Donald Trump. And I'm just like, guys, if he was implicated, it would have leaked out over the last 4 years. Would it have not?
You're absolutely right, Chris. And it reminds me because there was an executive order that was signed actually by President Trump yesterday, eliminating or getting rid of homeless people off the streets and putting them into facilities that can help them get better. And the left will find a way to cry about it. But the homeless people seem very happy about it. They see this as like a glimmer of hope for their lives.
Yeah.
So that's, and to your point, that is exactly the same energy. I mean, we want to see justice for the victims. They want to get Trump. We want to see homeless people be, treated in treatment centers. They want to weaponize this and say, oh, well, President Trump's just trying to, just they're just going to find a way to spin this. Everything that you can do to oppose President Trump, that's the Democrats' plan for the future, and it's not going to work out well for them.
No, you're absolutely right. Talk to me a little bit more about the executive order on combating the homeless. I've read some things that say it essentially reverses the Reagan policies of eliminating mental asylums. And then, you have towns or cities like Portland where they spent $700 million to fight the homeless here in fiscal year 2024, and it increases by 24%. So what is President Trump doing with this executive order that is different, and how is it going to work?
Well, it's still pretty new as far as we're concerned right now, but it's going to take the work from the local leaders. It's going to take work from these leaders of these blue cities that have spent more money helping illegal aliens get housing rather than its own citizens that are homeless and haven't been able to get help. I mean, this could be something that is incredible for the American people, especially not only our homeless veterans, but those who have been shoved aside, and while the illegal aliens are taking space in these
Yep.
hotels like Roosevelt Hotel in New York City. I think this is going to be great for homeless citizens. I think this is going to be a glimmer of hope, but it's going to take the work of local leaders. You've got a lot of local leaders in these blue cities that don't want to work with President Trump because he's President Trump. But honestly, I do trust that he's got a way to make this work for cities, whether that is taking the money that was allotted for the illegal aliens and putting it towards homeless instead. But I mean, right here in DC, we see it all the time. See it even worse in New York City. I saw it even worse in San Diego. I lived in San Diego for 7 months, and I couldn't go a single block without seeing feces on the ground and somebody shooting up on the corner.
Yeah.
So this is going to help significantly. And I don't know how long it's going to take. I'm hoping that it's kind of sped up the process, whatever that looks like, because a lot of these orders that President Trump is signing, especially in the One Big Beautiful Bill, we're excited to see those finally, trying to see some results quick.
Yeah. I hope we do see some results. There are some cities that have been ravaged by the homelessness issue. Nashville's not immune from it. We deal with it as well, and then they bus them out to towns like Murfreesboro and let them be there. So I'm excited to see how this executive order takes hold. Meanwhile, the economy doing gangbusters. We had a tour of the Federal Reserve building yesterday with Trump and Jerome Powell. What was your immediate reaction from their interaction that you saw?
Oh, it was so savage, Chris. It was incredible. This was not on the president's schedule earlier in the week. We usually get the week ahead guidance and we can see, kind of prepare, what can we expect for this week? This visit was not on the schedule. We didn't know about this until maybe 12 hours beforehand when we got the night before schedule. So we were kind of excited to see what this was all going to be about. Of course, this is a $3.1 billion renovation
Yep.
on about 3 buildings within the Federal Reserve. And this is $900 million over budget.
Only
This project costs
$900 million.
only $900 million and costs much more than some of the top NFL stadiums across the country.
Yep.
So that's just to put into perspective how grandiose this project is. And the president was wanting to see for himself, what does this construction look like? Why are we spending $900 million over budget for it? And if he could find any sort of mismanagement or fraud, it would just add fuel to the fire to fire Jerome Powell, essentially, and get rid of him, on top of the fact that he won't lower the interest rates. But essentially what we're seeing here with the interest rates is that Jerome Powell has essentially, appears to be, playing politics with the future of millions of Americans. Because what do you have right now? Inflation has cooled. Job growth has been holding steady, as we've seen over the past couple of months, or the past 6 months that President Trump has been in office. And what do you get when you don't lower the rates? A constant cycle of renting, which is what I'm dealing with right now. And families, couples maybe postponing or putting off starting a family.
Yep.
And this is essentially playing with the American dream. You're crushing the American dream.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask the president and the gaggle today, what's your message to Americans who want to buy a home, who want to live that American dream? What's your message to them? There's so many people in that gaggle. But I think that we will see the interest rates go down. There's a meeting next week, I believe. And I think we can expect Jerome Powell to do the right thing and lower those interest rates. But it was hysterical to see him say, hey, I would love this guy to do the right thing, and just slaps him on the back.
Yes, it was so good.
Incredible.
And he did. Trump seemed to walk away from that tour and that meeting a little bit in a good mood. He wasn't going full scorched earth on Jerome Powell like we thought he may. So apparently the backdoor, the backroom conversation might have gone pretty well. We'll see what happens next week. And to put into perspective, that 3.1 billion, I believe it could build 3 Dallas Cowboys stadiums, which is
Oh
insane.
my gosh. And
It's
and it eclipsed the Palace of Versailles, by the way, that
oh,
price.
yeah,
Wild.
it
And I
better
will
be
say, Chris,
nice.
it was very refreshing to see President Trump, 79 years old, wearing a hard hat in his element, in a full suit, navigating the scaffolding of a construction
Yes.
site in 90 degrees. Do you think Joe Biden could do that, Chris? I don't
No,
know.
Joe Biden had a tough time on the short stairs on Air Force One. We're talking with Monica
And
Paige. She is our White House reporter live from the North Lawn of the White House right now. Monica, where do we go from here? The president is heading to Scotland. What can we expect from this trip?
well, it's going to be a mix of personal and a working trip, is what the White House is calling it. So he will be touring some of his golf sites. We know his mother is from Scotland, so it kind of means a lot for him to be there. He's going to be meeting with some world leaders, the Minister of Scotland, and I believe Keir Starmer will be out there as well, the Prime Minister of the UK, kind of trying to negotiate a trade deal. We've seen 3 trade deals this past week, actually 4. We've seen the Philippines, Indonesia, and Japan. We saw a major trade deal with Australia. We're going to be
Yes,
selling our American beef to Australia.
which
That's
is
huge.
huge.
So Trump is hoping to lock in a huge trade deal with the EU, with Europe, whatever that may look like. Of course, we got that August 1st deadline before those tariffs start kicking in. So I think he's trying to, kind of speed up the process and talk to these guys and say, hey, what are we doing? But that's going to be the trip. He'll be there until Tuesday. And we're all looking forward to it.
Yeah, no, very much so. What are you hearing on trade deals being completed in the next week or so before that August 1st deadline? Are they close to some? What's the vibe?
Close with the EU, for what I understand, close with Europe. But I think President Trump likes to make these big announcements on Truth Social. So when it comes to any other country, not really hearing that much. I think maybe another one has to do with India. The president is, of course, keeping those conversations behind closed doors, but he gets very excited when another deal is made. And a lot of these countries are opening their markets. You just saw Indonesia this past week completely open its markets to farmers, fishers, and ranchers. A
Yep.
lot of these trade deals are benefiting our homegrown farmers and fishers and ranchers. This is so exciting. He's really pushing this agricultural boom here in
Yeah.
this country, and I think that's really something to get excited about.
Yeah, no, it's very exciting, and the Indonesia deal, especially, is completely underrated. There's a lot of talk about the manufacturing of China, but their population is
Mhm.
aging rapidly, and there's thoughts that Indonesia is going to step up and kind of fill that gap. So that trade deal can't be undersold. What stories are we not paying enough attention to? I mean, there's been a lot about Obama. There's been a lot about Epstein. There's been a lot about the Federal Reserve, but there's always stuff bubbling under the surface that deserves a little bit more attention that you have your eyes on. What have you noticed?
So within the last 6 months, the president actually secured over 70 American hostages reunited with their families. I
It's
mean, this is
incredible.
hostages from across the country. I'm sorry, across the globe, from Kuwait, from Russia, from the Taliban. The president has brought home more than 70. That's a record number of hostages in just 6 months. Joe Biden brought home probably more than 70 in 4 years. President Trump did that in 6 months.
Yeah,
So
it's
I think that's definitely
crazy.
something worth celebrating. These are people who are held as political prisoners, wrongfully detained in other countries as well. The president and his team have been working in overtime to bring every American home, making sure every American is not left behind.
What's the key behind that? Is it as simple as world leaders respect Donald Trump more than they respected Joe Biden, or is there something else in the secret sauce that I'm missing?
Well, it's so funny that you say that because I was looking back at the clip when the Israeli American hostage, Eden Alexander, was actually in the Oval Office when President Trump first brought him home. And he told the president himself, he said, the moment that you got into office, the Taliban started treating us better. And
Wow.
I thought that was very interesting. They knew that they had somebody tough back in the White House. So the president, he's got a way with words, he's got a way with peace through strength that no other president has been able to achieve, and in no other way could this have ever happened. I mean,
It's
the
amazing.
president is showing, hey, bring every American home or there will be hell to pay. And that's exactly what we've seen.
I love it. We're talking with Monica Page. She is the best White House reporter that you can follow. If you want truth in your reporting, you got to follow Monica Page. Monica, where can we follow you?
Thanks so much, Chris. You can find me on X and Instagram at Monica Page TV. I always appreciate your show, Chris, and I always appreciate the time.
Man, we love having you on, Monica. You're one of the best, and I appreciate your time. As always, we'll talk again next week. Monica Page, ladies and gentlemen, live from the White House North Lawn.